Hey everybody, I'm Steve from GamersNexus.net, and I'm joined by Richard Garriott, aka Lord British, and we're going to be talking about Shroud of the Avatar. We've got a couple of other topics as well that'll go up in separate videos, so check the channel for those. Before getting to that content, all of our PAX coverage is brought to you by CyberPower PC, who were awarded the Reader's Choice for Best Desktop Gaming PCs by PC Magazine. Richard, with Shroud of the Avatar, so we've done a couple of these videos. Can you give a really brief recap for everyone?
Sure. So, most people who know me would know me not only as Lord British, but as the author of the Ultima series.
Right.
I made 9 Ultimas and then Ultima Online. After I went independent, created the only science fiction game I've made called Tabula Rasa. But I've now gone back to medieval fantasy for my latest offering. And it really is sort of the spiritual successor to Ultima, but it's merging both what I think are the best features of solo player storytelling out of the Ultima series about virtues and the best aspects of Ultima Online, where the massively multiplayer world is not just about level grinding and combat. There's a full life to be realized as a crafter or as a role player that is, I would argue, very, very deep. And while most MMOs have continued to chase the World of Warcraft model, right, we're going back to the Ultima model, which we think has some, at least personal interest, and we think still has some lasting value. So if you liked Ultimas, or if you have friends who told you about them, if you're too young, come try Shroud of the Avatar.
And we also just spoke with Warren Spector, an old friend, co-worker of yours, and he worked on Ultima as well.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we worked on many. In fact, I would argue that the best solo player Ultimas, definitely the best told stories in the solo player Ultimas, were times when Warren and I worked together. I think he would, in fact, I think in the piece I've seen you guys talk about, he gives us a lot of credit, me and others at Origin, for teaching him some of the game design, the industry nuts and bolts. But what he definitely brought in day one from outside the computer gaming industry was storycraft.
Right.
And so I'm very proud of the storycraft in the Ultima's kind of 5, 6, 7 era, where Warren and I worked together on those games.
And now with Shroud of the Avatar, so you've been pushing for a while now. What's the sort of release timeline? What's the schedule?
Yeah, we've been going a little more than 28 months. The reason why I know 28 is because we're on release 28, and one per month. And so we had a few months where there were no before there was release 1, but for 28 months now, on the 3rd Thursday of the month, we release at 12 noon Central Time the latest version of the game, and it's been live now 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Not since episode 1, but I can't remember which episode we started that in, but long ago. And we've actually have a service now that has had 0 unscheduled downtime since the beginning.
We talked about that before, and when we last talked, it may have been 6 or more months ago when we last talked about that. So you've kept with that record?
Kept with that record. And we've launched within a minute, maybe 2 minutes of the appointed hour, and we've had no unscheduled downtime. We keep knocking on wood, because we've come close to unscheduled downtime. We've actually had the login servers fail, so no one new could join it.
Right.
But if you were in it, it was still live. So we've technically still always been up.
Still counts.
Still counts. But I mean, there will come a time when it goes down, I'm sure.
Right.
But it actually has to do with the architecture we've chosen, which is why it stayed up. If you think of most massively multiplayer games, especially, or online games generally, you're playing on a central server. You're in a client-server kind of architecture,
right,
which means if the server goes down, everyone is disconnected. Shroud of the Avatar doesn't operate that way. Shroud of the Avatar operates where everyone who's playing, their machine is part of the web of servers that the game is using to operate. And so that foundational change made 2 important changes. One is it means our servers are small. What we have in-house is just the login server,
right,
and some authentication activities. The majority of what's happening with the game being processed is happening in the cloud of people. And so we've already prepared it for what happens when you just turn off your machine,
right,
or somebody blue screens, or somebody's trying to hack it or cheat, or has a really slow machine that just doesn't perform well. Since the fundamental architecture assumed all those faults, we had to make a really fault-tolerant system that accepts the fact that individual pieces go offline now and then. And that turned out to work much better than we had anticipated and kept the service running 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
So is this, it doesn't sound quite like P2P, but...
It actually does have some P2P, peer-to-peer, concepts in it.
Right.
Not only do our updates actually spread in a actually peer-to-peer torrent, kind of way, but it's the way it sort of works is if a group of people is in a common area of geography that it can portion off and say, I know for a fact these are the only people in the region I care about, their machines then start to operate in a synchronous fashion. And so actually all of us are doing the processing of the whole game. But one of us is chosen as the metronome, the synchronizer, you might say. But if you go offline or have a hiccup of one kind or another, it just falls down to the next one of us to be the synchronization heartbeat, and the one that verifies that the truth is happening.
Does the game look at system specs or performance?
It does. Yeah. We try not to push that on somebody with a weak machine. Right. We do that analysis and we say whoever's got the strongest machine is going to do it, because the thing they're going to pick up on their machine that others don't have to pick up is AI. And so everyone's machine is independently tracking every AI, but one person is saying, the reality is that rabbit moved left. And everybody else goes, yeah, I get it, and they update their position. But as soon as your heartbeat goes down, suddenly go, oh, I'm the one now running the rabbits. Now the rabbit moves right, whatever it might be. And then the exception to this sort of round-robin synchronization is for things like trades of gold, or for victory conditions. Right. If I kill the rabbit, then we need to go, let's make sure nobody's hacked their client. Let's make sure you're not trying to steal gold from me. And so that type of activity then is verified back at our central server. And I'm sure some people will find some way to hack it eventually, and we'll end up in an arms race with the players. But so far, it's actually this method, again, because everyone is still synchronized. Everyone's machine is literally synchronized. So it's sort of like the Bitcoin, process, where to defeat something that's that public, you have to overwhelm, the public belief as to what's happening, which is a bit harder. Right.
What about the target release timelines, things like that? Where should people go to find out more?
Yeah, so the website's easy, www.shroudoftheavatar.com. Come join us if you haven't already, especially if you understand Ultima history, or frankly a lot of the other histories of Warren, and there's so many of us that have worked together on so many games.
Origin systems.
Anything from Origin, and a lot of the Star Wars Galaxies folks are really ex-Origin also. So anyway, there's a common thread through a lot of our history that, for those of you who remember those days, a lot of that is what we're trying to recover, but in a modern way. So come join us if you are so inclined. The real main release was really at the end of the year. So if you don't want to get involved in a beta process, you can wait till December. But if you like having an impact on the game, then join us sooner. And after that, we hope to release new episodes, which while the features will just keep adding over time, month by month. But the new releases of major segments of content, including new entire continents to go explore, we're going to do that on a 1-year cadence. So, Christmas time every year, we should have a nice package of wrapped up content for you.
Expansion content, something like that.
Exactly right.
Very cool. So as always, information in the description below, shroudoftheavatar.com. If you're interested in learning more, we've done a few of these videos, so if you search the channel for Shroud of the Avatar or Richard Garriott, or if you're interested in some of the other folks, Chris Roberts, Warren Spector, that's all on the channel. But thank you for watching. We'll see you all next time.